So the weekend has come and gone, and every Sorare scouting manager around the world is now looking and checking into their account and thinking, did I hit 400 points? Have I got my first Mbappe raffle ticket secured? There's another 2 opportunities to get a raffle ticket in for the Mbappe giveaway. So if you did miss out in the first game week, this midweek for the Champions League is round 2. It's the second chance to go and get another raffle ticket in. Your boy Quinny went out there and we smashed 400, guys. But not only that, we cracked into the top 1% of the leaderboard, which I didn't think was going to be possible without having a limited card to give it that extra 20% boost. But we've went and done it. We'll have a box to open up and hopefully give something away to one of you guys. The first video we did in this little kind of mini series has a card giveaway attached to it, and if we do pull anything from this midweek, we'll give it away to a random comment on this video before we come into the final furlong, the final segment on this mini series, as we prepare for the third and final opportunity to win a raffle ticket this coming weekend. Just like in the last video, I'm going to walk you through my thoughts and just the overall process of how I'm selecting the players and ultimately who I am selecting to go out and get my second 2 out of 2. I want all 3 of these Mbappe tickets I could possibly get because I would just love to win it. At any point in the video, if you do, laugh, you learn, you like something or whatever, please do like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. And yeah, get into the comment section for the giveaway and all that good stuff, and let's just get stuck into it. Now, I must admit, after the game week deadline closed and I seen everyone's team submissions that they put out, I was flabbergasted. I was shocked at the amount of dodgy decisions people made for their goalkeeper, for their defender, and even some of the striker choices I just thought were really left field. This is a competition where you get to draft the biggest and best players from Europe's biggest and best leagues and clubs. You don't need to take any chances. You don't need to be too clever. You don't need to be cute. You just need to make sure you smash that 400 points. And if you do a good enough job, then hey, just like I did, you're going to end up in that top 10% or the top 1%. You're going to get a box. You're going to get a card. You're going to get something else on top as well. So job number 1 is go and get the 400 points over the bag, or over the line, I should say. And then it's cross your fingers and toes that the rest of the picks you've made are the right ones and take you all the way to the top. Now, as I look at the team that I rang out last weekend, honestly, I'm brimming from ear to ear thinking about the video we did, because for the goalkeeper position, this is the no-nonsense position where you just need to get 60 points in. You just need to get a guy that's definitely going to keep a clean sheet, and the the sort of approach that we had was where we're looking for a guy that is capable of making a few saves as well. So if the 60 didn't come, we still could have maybe clocked a 55 or something like that. But everything fell into play for Vanja Milinkovic-Savic. He brought in an 80-point score with his clean sheet and being an incredible, a decisive figure on the day as well, which was a great, I was going to say it was a great start, but he was actually the last player to run in this team. The great start came from Paris. We get double 100 out of Achraf Hakimi and Ousmane Dembele. Captain Musiala brought in a raw score of 73.5, which is definitely the borderline for a captain being acceptable and formidable in this competition, so we just about got away with that. The other captain option I had was Cole Palmer, and it's a good thing I never captained him because he was the letdown of the squad, which I was very, very surprised about. He was marked out the match. Chelsea got a 1-0 win, but barely any all-around score from Palmer. Normally, he's a guy that's very good for getting 20 plus in all-around points on top of any decisives that he might clock, and he takes set pieces and penalties and all the rest of it. So process definitely worked. Palmer was a bit of a letdown, but now we come in to game week 2 of this competition with the same sort of success in mind. Now again, I'm not going to be running in this with unlimited card. I'm going to be playing with full commons again. And when we come to look at the goalkeeper, this is Champions League football. There's a little bit of domestic stuff in on the go. I don't think any of that actually comes into this, but so it is purely Champions League only. And again, we've got a lot of familiar names and faces from the last video, from the last time we did this, and we're now starting to see some of the new Sorare data, starting predictions kind of filter in and all the rest of it. Now in the Champions League, you'll notice when you go through this, there's not that many cut and dry clear games where it's big team versus small team. There is only a few of them. For me, Leverkusen and Feyenoord and Benfica versus Red Star. Those two guys are on the podium joint somewhere as being like pretty good fixtures. Along, I'd probably say with Borussia Dortmund away to Club Brugge. These are games that, for the right player, if you've got the limited card and you know that they can do a turn for you, those are pretty good fixtures. But by a long distance, the 2 standout fixtures in this match day is Bayern Munich at home to Dynamo Zagreb. They're going to get 85% of possession and probably get a significant scoreline again. And Celtic at home to Slovan Bratislava. This is a game that we should do very well in. We should win, and hopefully, you know, it's similar to what we see in Scotland because of the stature of opponent we've got. We're at home, we got a lot of possession, lots of good AA for all the usual suspects and all the rest of it. So when we're looking at the goalkeeper, these are the main 5 fixtures that I've just highlighted to you, where the goalkeeper is viable, as a good option, I would say. The rest of them do have viability, but are fraught with risk, is probably the best way of saying that. And for me, it probably won't surprise you guys, but the number 1 goalkeeper for this midweek is Kasper Schmeichel. He is going to keep a clean sheet. He is Mr. Clean Sheet at Celtic Park. But Bratislava will fancy their chances, I'm sure, and they'll probably get a couple of shots away. He'll make some passes. He might even get a wee cheeky assist if you've seen some of the distribution he's had from the back. It goes hand in hand with Neuer as being the best goalkeeper, but Neuer's going to have nothing to do. So if Zagreb were to burst the bubble, Neuer could be a real letdown, bringing 35 points with no saves or any contribution to make. Whereas Schmeichel, if we did lose the clean sheet, I'm still fairly confident he could break into the 50s, the high 40s in a worst case scenario. Now, when we come to look at defence, again, we're faced with that same age-old problem. Do we go with a fullback or do we go with a centre-back? And there's lots and lots of great options out and around Europe's elite clubs here. This is the Premier competition. All the big teams, all the big players are here, and they're available selection in this competition. And you know, Schlotterbeck is somebody that I think is a very, very viable option. Away from home, he's going to have maybe a bit more AA, you know, at his fingertips there. But he's an elite performer, very decisive, capable from centre defence as well. And I think he's definitely one that I would be looking at. The problem with the Bayern Munich defence as well is that there's not that many amazing scorers. Now, I actually think Rafa Guerreiro could be an amazing pick for defence this game week as well. But there's a little bit of conjecture. There's a little bit of, what's the word? Yeah, we're making assumptions, basically. I like all the Celtic defenders as well, but it is going to be a dice roll on who does break 80 out of the 4 of them. I do think Alistair Johnson is probably the standout candidate here. But as I'm looking through these defenders, I'm after a guy that's, again, similar to Hakimi, genuinely 100 capable, definitely going to rock in 75, 80 plus. And really, Rafa Guerreiro, while he's unknown, it's really hard to pick him. But I think as you look through the list of available players and think about how these matches are going to actually pan out, and who is like a known quantity, who's a guy that, yeah, he can definitely do that, similar to Hakimi, the fixture suits him, he's in form, he's going to play, etc., etc. I think that it can only be Grimaldo for defence for this one. Even if Leverkusen do concede, it's not going to be a big problem. He's going to set pieces, he's going to get decisive or two, and he's a proper AA merchant. Now, in midfield, again, similar to last week, we don't want to be taking any chances. We want guys that are in strong teams, are going to play, and are in form. And like the Celtic midfield, I don't think there's anyone in there that we can really grab onto. So it then becomes all about the Bayern Munich midfield. And when you look at the Bayern Munich midfield, there is a couple of key standout candidates, a few familiar names and faces around the Sorare stratosphere, as it were. And in a game like this, you have to take Joshua Kimmich. He's probably got 50 all around in his locker for a game like this. And then here, you're just crossing your fingers. He gets that assist, he gets that goal. He does push the team over the top. And I think like this back line that we've built so far, it's going to be really hard to compete against when it comes to the leaderboard. Now, when we do go and we look at strikers, honestly, I was kicking myself. I was really happy with Ousmane Dembele, don't get me wrong, but I was absolutely kicking myself that I didn't pick Harry Kane. And I think this is a game where Harry Kane is going to be the #1 forward quite comfortably in this game week. It could be somebody like an Mbappe, Champions League debut for Real Madrid, of course. It could be somebody from Leverkusen, from Dortmund, maybe even from Benfica. One of the Celtic forwards is probably going to push into the high 70s, but Kane is the only striker I'm looking at that's comfortably going to score a hat-trick or something like that, you know. So Kane comes into attack here. And again, kind of accidentally, similarly to last week with PSG, having the Dembele and the Hakimi, we're accidentally ending up with 2 Bayern players here as well. And then the job becomes having a look across European football and just trying to find any position. It doesn't matter who they play for, it doesn't matter what position they're in, who is going to be clearly, comfortably a very formidable high scorer. I am tempted to buy somebody like Michael Olise here. I think he could be a real peaky player. But again, on top of everything I've already explained with the main runners and riders, the best teams, the best fixtures that I think that we've got available to us this week, I just feel again that maybe the Man City guys playing Inter Milan could get great all around, but the decisive potential, like Inter Milan's defence is really good. Their midfield is very combative. There will be good AA there for Rodri and Kevin De Bruyne, but I'm just not convinced on, you know, them being better than a Kimmich for this game week, or even for that matter, the other midfielder that I'm going to end up picking, which is a repeat player from last week. It was captain Jamal Musiala. And again, semi-accidentally, there's not too many. I sincerely think Bayern are going to score 5, 6, 7 or 8 goals in this game. And as a result, it's very hard to look past them. I've gave the explanation for the goalkeeper and the defender, why I would take them out of Bayern and who I think is the best across the field. And ultimately, I'm probably going to captain Kimmich just because I think the 8A he's going to be on for getting, it's going to be frightening. And then just to get that one all around, it's probably going to make the difference. Grimaldo could be a great captain. All these guys could be great captain choices, but I'm going to go with Kimmich on this one. And this is going to be a fun midweek of Champions League football. I've got the heavy hitters on Tuesday night. I've got Celtic to watch and Kasper Schmeichel to, you know, pray that clean sheet comes over the line for not just this competition, but for a few other ones I've got going on. And then on a Thursday night, to push us over the top, we're going to have Grimaldo going for it as well. So I'm really, really happy with this team. I think it's definitely smashing 400 points, which is the #1 objective. And with this being Champions League, there's less teams to pick from, less obvious fixtures to dial into. I'm going to go back to my game week 1 for this competition's prediction that getting into the 10% without a card is not going to happen. I think there's too many Bayern cards. I think too many people will put Bayern cards into this. You've also then got your likes of Grimaldo, maybe a Celtic card or two. I think there's too many limiteds that could come into this again. We're at half the entrance that we had on the first time around, so the top 10% then becomes half the size in terms of the actual head count, what position you need to get into. And I think it's going to be much, much harder to pull a box to break into the actual reward without having a limited card here. But with these 5 commons, I'm super confident that we're going to smash 400 points again and get another ticket. I want you guys to drop a comment down below. A random comment will win something if we've won something from the first team that you've seen earlier in the show on screen, and now with some other stuff that I've made that YouTube thinks you might enjoy. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this. Good luck, and I will catch you on the next one.